Welcome to the New York Times. On today's episode, we got a special New York Times sports edition, a banger of an episode. What a freaking booking this show has become. We have Garrett Stubbs on the episode. That is right. Actual Major League Baseball player. He played for the Houston Astros. He played for the Philadelphia Phillies. He played also for Team Israel Baseball. He's a Jew. He's actually, he was part of a record when he and three other MLB players, Jewish MLB players, were on the field at the same time in, I think it was 2021. 2021. It was the first time that there were four Jewish players in the World Series at the same time. We talked about Team Israel. We talked about his recent marriage, about some Jewish stuff, about some baseball stuff. It was a great, great talk. Thanks a ton, Garrett, for coming on the episode. And I will say there is a major announcement that happens on this episode. First time ever that the New York Times is scooping. We're making the news now. People are doing announcements on the show. If you are a big macher out there in sports, politics, whatever, you want to come on the New York Times. We had Brad Lander on. It's becoming Meet the Press. New York Times is the new Meet the Press. And Garrett Stubbs came on. We're super excited to have him. So without further ado, here is the interview with Garrett Stubbs. New York Times Sports. Welcome to the New York Times Sports Edition, baby. On today's episode, very special interview. Garrett Stubbs, MLB catcher. I'm going to be talking to him all about just his baseball experience, and he may even have a little bit of news that he's going to be sharing on this podcast. Garrett, how's it going? Before we talk, first off, just want to get some personal stuff out of the way. Mazel tov on the recent wedding. How was the wedding? How was the schmorg? I got to know.
It was awesome, dude. We had an incredible time. Like every Jew does, we went down to Mexico to get married. We were in Cabo San Lucas and had a week down there with family and friends. Definitely the highlight of my life up to this point. It was an incredible week with everybody.
Cabo is like the Tel Aviv of Mexico. Yeah. I definitely... You're 100% right that is like the most Jewish way to get married is a destination wedding in Cabo.
It was fun, man. I mean, it's a very big destination for people on the West Coast. I know the East Coasters are more Florida and the Keys and whatnot, but over on the West Coast, Cabo's kind of like the go-to aside from maybe Hawaii to go down and have a regular vacation. And then we were lucky enough to be able to find a venue and have our wedding down there, which was just an amazing time.
When you were coming up with the decision to get married in Cabo, were you ever deciding between Cabo and Borough Park, New York at a catering hall, off of Avenue J? Yeah,
we spent a couple days looking at different delis for to cater in New York, but we ended up landing on Cabo. Big jump from a deli in New York to Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah, same vibes, basically the same vibes.
Same thing. It was kind of on the same vibe, but ultimately the beach won.
Yeah, slightly. It was just a hair,
By a hair.
My mom also, by the way, I was talking to my mom. I was telling her that we were going to do this interview, and she did have a question. So this is actually a mom question. I will say that a big portion of my demo is just like old Jewish moms, and she did want to know, how did you guys meet?
So we met in high school. She's from Arizona, and I'm from San Diego, and like most Zonies do, they escape the heat in the summer to San Diego to enjoy a few weeks or months or however long they feel. And she had a mutual high school friend that was my high school friend, and just kind of hung out a little bit in high school. Obviously went our separate ways through college and a little bit after that, but then like a lot of people during COVID and we were all bunkered up, I went to Arizona because San Diego was very, very shut down, and I was working out to get ready for the season out there, and we rekindled our friendship that ended up turning into us getting married about 4 years after the fact.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but like, you did play in the COVID years in MLB. What was it like to be, playing then?
Yeah, it was, I was about to say it was horrible, but it was horrible for everybody, right? I mean, we were lucky enough to be able to get somewhat of a season in from a personal level, and then also for I felt like people just around the country and around the world, it gave them at least a little bit of a break to be able to watch us play. I know the NBA had a bubble that they ended up playing, but from a personal standpoint, it was a pretty miserable time. You know, you're just with your teammates, which I had unbelievable teammates, but you don't get to see family. I remember in the playoffs going to Petco Park to play against the Rays, and that's where I'm from. And I'm saying hello to my family through a fence that I have to stand, 6 feet from. So not exactly the best homecoming back to San Diego, but nonetheless, we got a season in, and I think people still were able to enjoy watching a little bit of baseball that year.
Did that experience kind of like add on to the joy of playing baseball when things opened up more? Like you guys immediately, because you ended up going through, you were on Houston, then you ended up on the Phillies. Both teams had incredible, playoff runs. I say that, by the way, I am a Mets fan. So
Boo.
what do you want from me? Anytime anyone boos the Mets, I'm like, we didn't do anything. We never do anything.
A Jewish
You
guy
guys have had a way better. Yeah.
A Mets fan. Breaking news.
Believe it or not, the Mets fans are Jewish, and we're annoyed. We're very, very annoyed constantly.
I get it.
But that must have been awesome to come back, from COVID years into two very, very competitive teams. So that must have been kind of like just a huge homecoming back.
Yeah, going from stick figure, cardboard figure fans in the stands with built-in crowd noise from the speakers to a full stadium that following year in 2021 when we played against the Braves in the World Series with Houston was a much, much different and more dramatic experience than the previous year. I was lucky enough to debut in 19, so I got to experience the World Series against the Nationals when I was with Houston. So going from that to nothing, back to that was pretty awesome. And then the following year in 22, going back to the World Series with Philly against Houston, there's truly nothing like, and you're a Mets fan, so you won't want to hear this, but there is absolutely nothing like playing a playoff baseball game in the bank for the Phillies. It is bar none the most incredible atmosphere you could ever ask for. I personally believe among any sport. I think maybe a World Cup soccer game or a Premier League soccer game probably would compete with that atmosphere just because of the outrageousness of those soccer games. But
you've clearly never been to Jewish Heritage Night at the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, okay?
You'll have to invite me. You'll have to invite me so I can get that feel. But that atmosphere in those and playoffs in Philadelphia for a Phillies baseball game is just insane.
You can imagine. You guys, so that's actually an interesting segue into this fact. Garrett, you're Jewish. You're a Jewish man. Interesting fact about you is that you were one of the 4 Jewish players to play in the 2021 World Series, which was a record for the amount of Jews to be playing at the same time in the World Series. What is that like? Like, it's such like an odd coincidental thing to be a part of. Did you take any joy out of that? What is it like to represent the Jews in that way?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I don't think about it. Definitely didn't know that was a thing until I saw the tweets, and I'm tagging the tweets and whatnot. Certainly not something like you seek out to try to represent in a certain way, but I think that you start to realize the impact that you have in moments like that when you have little kids or moms with their little kids saying how much their child looks up to you, because as we know, the Jewish community doesn't have a plethora of athletes in baseball or other sports for that matter. And so when I have a mom and a kid,
by the way, let me just say, we are very heavily represented in Upper East Side roller hockey. So I can't, which is, a lot of people say the height of athletic achievement is the Upper West Side, Upper East Side roller hockey.
I've heard that a few times, actually. My post-baseball career will have to entail a lot of roller hockey, Upper East Side.
They say that the MLB is a pipeline into the Upper East Side roller hockey league.
Well, I was going to say, I just kind of invited myself, but I think I'm going to have to work my way up through the trenches to see if I can even make it there. So we'll see. We'll have to talk about it.
But you're right though. That is something about like Jews are not really heavily represented in in professional sports.
Yeah, so when I get to see a mom and their kid tell me how much their child looks up to me for athletic purposes to want to pursue a career in baseball or soccer or whatever sport it may be, that kind of stuff definitely makes that record of having 4 Jews in the World Series that year mean a lot more to me personally, and I think to the community in general. So it's a pretty cool feat, and yeah, having those kids look up to you is pretty much what it's all about.
That's an interesting thing though about like how you didn't set out to be like a Jewish, folk hero or anything like that, but it is kind of like thrust on you, especially over the past couple of years. Obviously, like inherent tensions, nothing political about this, but like, the concept of being a Jew and just existing as a Jew has kind of like evolved over the past couple of years. Have you seen more importance in being outwardly Jewish or kind of embracing these communities that have seen something cool in you? There's nothing cooler than seeing a Jewish last name on the back of a jersey. Like
Yeah,
that's just it's the coolest.
yeah, I definitely never sought out to be any sort of figure in the Jewish community, but I think that it definitely became more prevalent once I became a Philly because there's a larger Jewish community in Philadelphia as well. So on that front, I do wear that title with pride. I've always been prideful of being Jewish. I had a bar mitzvah when I was 13, and it's a lot of work. It's probably your first accomplishment in life. It was for me, where you've put in many, many years of work to learn a language that you don't know. I never learned how to technically speak it, but you're reading and writing it and learning your Torah portion. And over those years, you're complaining to your mom about not wanting to go to Hebrew school, not wanting to go to Sunday school. And then you have this moment when you're 13 that kind of ties it all together. So I've always been prideful of that. I always refer back to that being kind of the first moment in my life where I achieved something a little bit bigger than the desires that I had in baseball and other things that you kind of choose to do. So it was cool, and I do take a lot of pride in being Jewish and also being hopefully somebody that little kids can look up to in the Jewish community.
That's awesome. How did your relationship with Judaism kind of like evolve? After you got bar mitzvah, did you keep doing stuff? Did you not do stuff? Judaism is such a spectrum. Did you,
Yeah.
did you continue to embrace it?
So after I had my bar mitzvah, I would go back for high holy days. Outside of that, I was not a practicing Jew. I didn't go every Friday for Shabbat. And so my mom and I would go, and my brother would go, and on those high holy days, post high school, I've rarely done anything within the temple and going back for high holy days. Life definitely gets in the way when you're trying to do those things. We're having a daughter coming here in November. Would like to raise, yeah, thank you. We're super excited. And so, because being Jewish was a large part of my early life, we're going to raise her at least a little bit religious so that she can learn how to be Jewish, what it's about. I think it's a great way of just getting a little bit of diversity and understanding culture just among the world. So we're going to be doing that with our daughter growing up. It will definitely fall on me for the most part. My wife is not Jewish, but I'm looking forward to that kind of stuff and being able to kind of share that part of my life and heritage with her.
Has your wife tried gefilte fish yet? Has she done any of the Jewish stuff yet?
She has not. I know that she would be willing to. And she has come over for like Hanukkah, and so we do Hanukkah every single year. And
Yeah.
we are not in San Diego for Passover, Yom Kippur, or any of those holidays, but Hanukkah falls during the off season, so we do go home and celebrate Hanukkah, and she loves it. And she didn't grow up religious at all, so this is kind of our religious piece of our life.
I think you represent a huge number of Jews out there, people that are in, interfaith relationships that want to instill some version of Judaism into their kid and stuff like that. ritual-wise, like, what's the kind of stuff that you're planning on like doing with your daughter? Have you thought about any of that stuff yet? Like, are you excited to light the Hanukkah candles with her? Do the Passover stuff with her?
Yeah, to be seen. I think it'll be something that we'll learn along the way, just like raising a child is. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like until you're in the middle of it. And this
Yeah.
is our first, so we really don't know. But I think, yes, things like that, just kind of doing the Hanukkah thing with our family. I would like to do some of the less fun holidays as well,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And in my experience with growing up and becoming and being Jewish, I think the morals that you learn, and any religion too, I think that there's just a lot to be learned as being a human being in religion, whether, it's you having a large faith in God or anything like that, to each their own. But I think there's just a lot of morality to be learned in being Jewish, and that's kind of the experience that I took out of it, of just being a good human being.
Let's like cut ahead to 2023. You played for the Team Israel baseball. Going from someone that had it a little bit Judaism on the back burner. It's an interesting thing to kind of throw your name and your weight and your professional time and all that stuff behind. An entity like Team Israel. Israel doesn't have the longest history with baseball. They're still new and they're finding their way through like the baseball universe. What brought you to go and join Team Israel Baseball for that 2023 World Baseball Classic run?
Yeah, Ian Kinsler reached out to me asking if I would be interested, and I had talked to a few people prior to that, with a little bit of rumblings of if I would be interested in doing it. And Ian Kinsler reached out, and he was going to have Brad Osmus as his bench coach, and I was like, this is awesome. This is one really cool. Ian Kinsler is somebody that I watched play. I mean, not that long ago. He didn't stop his career, retire all that long ago, but incredible baseball player. And I thought it was just a really cool opportunity to be able to, one, represent an amazing country and a group of people, and then play on a world stage against some of the best players in the world representing their countries as well. It just gets a different vibe than a professional Major League Baseball game. I wouldn't say one is better than the other, but the vibe and the passion that you have from the fans and the players to be representing their country is a pretty cool experience. And I would definitely implore everyone to go to a WBC game if you're in Arizona or Miami or somewhere else in the country that they're playing, because it's an awesome experience.
Were there any specific moments or stories where that Israel tie-in was cool? Like, is there any kind of highlights from that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as a personal experience, while we were playing, there weren't, too many, but we as a team went and watched a film that they made about the Olympics that Team Israel went to during COVID. And it was kind of that group of guys who, some of them, about a quarter of our team, were now on the Team Israel team then in 2023. And just kind of watching them go through their experience going to Israel, getting citizenship, and then going to the Olympics in, I think it was in Beijing, and playing those games and kind of being in the Olympic Village, and watching them kind of go through their daily life as Jewish people representing Israel in that community. It was a much different experience than the one we had for the WBC because it was just baseball. But just kind of watching them go about their day, wearing the Israel T-shirts and things like that it was cool to see, and it was a really good documentary.
The guys, talk to me a little bit about the guys. 2023, I met Shlomo Lipitz. Shlomo Lipitz, the legendary pitcher for Team Israel Baseball. I met him. I used to have a show on Amazon. I remember he showed up in a leather jacket. As he was leaving the studio, he handed me a box and he said, "I got this for you." And I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "Open it later." And it was a bobblehead of himself. It's a quirky, I took a call recently with some of Team Israel Baseball's like staff, and one of them was in scrubs, and I was like, "Why are you in scrubs?" And I think it was the president of Team Israel Baseball, and he was like, "Oh, because I'm about to go perform oral surgery." It is the quirkiest group of dudes of all time. Talk to me a little bit about the vibes and the guys on Team Israel Baseball.
Yeah, it was really cool kind of seeing the different personalities and people from all over the country and world that were going to be playing with us. We had a guy tall who is from Israel who was our bullpen catcher, and his family were there. His dad and brother were there, but Tall was our bullpen catcher, and he's actually from Israel. Dean Kramer, who's a pitcher for the Orioles, he was there and actually was born in Israel. One of the few guys like Shlomo who is actually Israeli. And Shlomo Lipitz, man, he is an absolute legend. Obviously among the Team Israel community. But he also started City Winery, the venue there in Brooklyn. I think they have one in Chicago. They might have one.
Ever Nashville's got one.
There you
Philly's
go.
got one. There's two in Manhattan now. I always think that the most Jewish thing about Team Israel Baseball is that one of the pitchers is also the music booker for City Winery. I always thought that was a beautiful fact.
Yeah, and it's awesome, right? Like our team was not made up of a bunch of Major League Baseball players or even minor league baseball players for that matter. It was made up of a smorgasbord of people, whether it was currently in baseball or had some sort of association with baseball at some point. But it was really cool just seeing the different cultures that could get brought together to play for a country like Israel, and ended up winning that first game against Nicaragua, which I know for a fact no one thought we were going to win. Yeah. So it was pretty cool to be able to go there and have some success and kind of see the guys on the team rally together to get that win after a week of practice and kind of just hanging out.
I remember that there was like this really cool moment in the second, was the second against like Dominican Republic, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
It was, right? I remember that. So obviously, I don't know if you know this, the Dominicans are pretty good at baseball from what I've read. They're, they kind of like it over there.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting thing that happened where, you guys are so outmatched, in that. And the starting pitcher for Team Israel is Jacob Steinmetz, a Long Island yeshiva kid. And I remember the coolest thing in the world was watching this little yeshiva kid strike out Manny Machado.
Yeah.
In that first inning. It was one of the most wild things of all time. Unfortunately, the game, after a couple innings, it went a little bit more towards the Dominican Republic's way. I remember Lenny Dykstra posted a scorecard of it, the tweet, and he said, "This is anti-Semitism," and it was just the the thing. But I think that what's cool about Team Israel Baseball is like the fact that I was watching like Jacob Steinmetz play on a stage like that, watching all these Jews play on the on a stage like that. You guys went on a crazy Cinderella run, like you said. No one thought you'd beat Nicaragua. No one thought you guys would make it as far as you guys had made it. No one thought that you guys were going to do as well as you guys did. Next year, you guys do have a berth in the World Baseball Classic in Miami. Have you made a decision about your involvement with the team next year?
Oh, yeah. And after that Nicaragua win, we obviously got that automatic bid into the next WBC. And I can promise you, as soon as we won that game, I was already eyes on, I hope that I get to play the next WBC because this was an incredible experience. So when they reached out this last go around for the next WBC, there was no other answer but yes. And so I'm super excited to be able to go represent Israel again in this next WBC. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that some of those same guys are back. And I also hope that we get a couple new faces that maybe were watching last WBC that think, with their baseball experience, hopefully a few more major leaguers, they can come and help us out and win a couple more games this go around.
By the way, this is a huge scoop. We got to celebrate this. This, as far as I know, is the first time that you are announcing that you are playing for Team Israel Baseball next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been able to tell anybody publicly. So I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's an incredible group of people, guys like Shlomo, and other major leaguers. Hopefully, this go around. Aside from Jock and a few others like Dean, so it'll be a lot of fun.
I know Harrison Bader already confirmed that he will be playing next year on Max Manus' podcast. Shout out to Max Manus, by the way, he's a friend of mine. What Jews in Major League Baseball, if you had to make a plea to anyone, is there anyone specific that you would like?
Let's start pleading for Bregman. I think Breg would be happy to. I know he wants to play in the WBC. I think that I think a lot of guys, first choice for a good reason is always Team USA. It's a place where we grew up. But I think that Bregman would love to come play for Team Israel. I've talked to him about it a little bit. I've always said, like, hey, man, I think you'd have a lot of fun doing it. So it'd be a cool experience. He definitely has never committed to doing it with Team Israel. But I think that would be my plea, is to get Breg over playing for Team Israel this next WBC. I think he's a great dude. And I think he'd have a lot of fun coming and playing for us.
Let me just say, Alec Bregman out there, I love you. I love you, Alec Bregman. And I also happen to know the big shots at Manischewitz, the Jewish food brand. Alec, you name how many boxes of latkes and matzo ball mix, and I will make it happen. You can let him know that if he wants that matzah sponsorship, it is done. It is there. It is going to happen 100%. So
Breg's big on the sponsorship, so I think that might help.
Yeah. I want Max Fried. Listen, we gotta. Max Fried, come play for the Jews next time out there. Zach Geloff, I think he's probably playing out there for them.
This last go around. I think he'll be back.
Awesome. He's awesome.
I don't know Max Fried all too well, but he'd be another one that would be awesome to get to come play for us.
Max Fried, what are you waiting for? The Jews want you on that team. I think that there is a very big chance that we can make a push. And I just want to give you my strategy, by the way, and tell me if this strategy works at all. I found out that the way to be eligible for Team Israel baseball is just two ways. One, you have to have one Jewish grandparent, or two, you have to be married to a Jew. You don't even have to be Jewish. You have to be married to a Jew. I think that Team Israel baseball's got to commission a bus with Gal Gadot and her best friends, send them to the Dominican Republic. We start recruiting. We start building some power hitters. I want the starting lineup just go like Gonzalez, Liebenthal, Garcia Parra, Goldberg, Goldfarb, Rodriguez. Do you think that this could happen?
I like your strats. This would be some sort of infiltrating that would have to start now, and maybe 2 WBCs from now, you'd have that Dominican Jewish lineup rolling through the WBC, and people are like, what the hell is going on here? And little did they know it started today, the recruitment for the WBC 6 years from now.
You're going to look right now, June 24th, 2025 is the foundation of Yeshayahu Gonzalez, the star and the power hitter for the team. One serious thing that I do want to kind of bring up is that, over the last time you guys were together was 2023. The world has shifted, changed a lot. Things have not gotten more stabilized. It feels like putting a Team Israel jersey on you does make you a target is a little bit too broad of a term, but it definitely is a magnet for some, sort of hate. Is there any second thought? Are you worried at all? Is there any hesitation when it comes to putting on the jersey? Or is it just no, this is who I am. I'm making a statement. I'm standing with this.
Yeah, not at all. I've, from a young age, whether it be because of being Jewish or just life in general, right? When you let terrorists dictate how you feel or how you go about your daily life, they win. And so when I put on a Team Israel jersey, or back when 9/11 happened as an American, the next year my family and I went to New York. And we weren't going to let people that are horrible human beings doing horrible things dictate how we live our life, because like I said, then you let them win. So there's absolutely nothing that would stop me from expressing who I am as a person. So, are there things and people maybe look at you sideways a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. When I was in Miami, the previous WBC, we were getting ready to get on the bus, and I was walking around Miami with my Team Israel shirt to go get a Starbucks. And, you start to get some looks from people that I don't get when I'm just wearing a Viore t-shirt or whatever. And so there is a little bit of a difference when you're wearing that Team Israel shirt. But like I said before, I don't change my life based off of other people's opinions, and especially not those of those horrible people doing things right now in the world. So I'm looking forward to being able to wear that Team Israel jersey.
What is the goal for the World Baseball Classic in Miami? You guys are starting in the Miami field. What is the goal for this next one?
Win one game. And then when we win that one game, we're going to try to win 2 games. When we win 2 games, we're going to try to win 3. You just take it one game at a time and try to win whatever game you're currently in. And like I said, I think that there's going to be a couple more players on our team, like Harrison Bader, that wasn't there last time, that'll be here this time, that give us a little bit better opportunity to win a few more games. Like there was no expectation going into the WBC this last time, and when we won one game, we were ecstatic. And I think those that were supporting our Team Israel baseball team were also ecstatic. So maybe the goal this time is to win 2, and we'll see it. We'll see it, and we'll work from there.
And it's to shut up Lenny Dykstra. That's what.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, extracurriculars aside, there's obviously the Phillies catcher tie-in, Jewish Philly catcher, and then everything else is everything else. But out there, very similar. Okay, so I want to just switch it over to a little bit just about MLB in general. I will say you're known as the Party King. That is how a lot of people know you, and not just out there in the regular Reddit sphere. Like MLB Instagram has called you the Party King. So Sports Illustrated has one of my favorite quotes about you. I was trying to figure out a way to talk about you, and I'm going to verbatim from Sports Illustrated. So this was about how you hit a home run after you guys had clinched the playoffs in 2023. So it goes. The Phillies partied hard on Tuesday night after clinching a berth in the playoffs, but no one partied harder than backup catcher Garrett Stubbs. In the clubhouse after the game, Stubbs was seen pounding tequila shots and doing former NBA player Sam Cassell's signature big balls dance, all while wearing powder blue overalls, one strap undone, of course. You then hit a home run during the, quote, hangover game because a lot of the players had actually been sat the next day. You were asked about it, and you were said, felt great. Actually, I was probably still a little hammered from the night before. All it took was a bunch of champagne, drinking all night, and then going out the next day. There it was, a homer. In that moment, have you thought about getting champagne boozy as part of your regular warm-up routine?
Yeah, I think the extra part of that quote was tequila is the only PED that I need. So
beautiful.
Yeah, I the hangover game is my game to shine because we're all a little beat up. JT finally gets a day to relax and kick his feet up. But I'll tell you what, being the party image, party animal title or whatnot, none of that gets to happen without winning. So I've been super fortunate to have incredible teammates that work their ass off, including myself, every single day to try to make sure that we're winning those games, whatever capacity you can help that day to win a game. And then you get to, because of that, have that party atmosphere after the game, popping bottles, drinking tequila, and enjoying the season that you just grinded through, that you finally, get that playoff berth. So, I think tequila is a solid PED for me. It produced a homer, so I can only relate it to the night before being a fun night filled with tequila and champagne.
Let me just say, you make a really good point that it has got to suck to be the party guy on the Colorado Rockies right now. No one wants to come back.
Not a lot of partying going on. You got to win baseball games if you want to be able to pursue the party atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame, by the way. That Colorado Rockies stadium is beautiful. I remember last year I threw it a first pitch there, and I remember the Rockies have this deal where, what?
The first pitch goat.
Thank you. You know about it. Yeah, I broke the Guinness record for it. But the funny story is that when I threw it at the Colorado Rockies, so the Rockies, the way to get people in is that they've made it a pretty affordable drinking experience before the game. It's cheap beers at the stadium. and I'm on the field and I have friends that were in the audience, and I'm about to go up and they text me and they go, they told us that they're cutting off cheap beer the second the first pitch gets thrown out. Can you delay the first pitch? And I'm like, no, I can't delay the first pitch,
That's
you
incredible.
alcoholics. You
That's
know,
incredible. I love that. Yeah, it is
I want.
a great stadium over there.
Oh, it's a beautiful stadium. Do you have a favorite stadium that in MLB?
Uh, Bias San Diego because I'm
Yeah.
from there, but a lot of people actually do say San Diego. Obviously the weather's incredible, the stadium's awesome, the food's great. But for me, outside of San Diego, Fenway Park, the nostalgia that you get when you walk down the stairs into that dugout and onto the field and seeing the green monster and just the entire kind of aura of the stadium. It's a different feel than anywhere else. And that
It's
one's,
like a
yeah,
museum.
incredible. It is like a museum, and they treat it like one. Like that place is sacred.
Yeah.
The funniest part is the bathroom that's in the dugout. You know, every dugout has a bathroom attached to it. Well, this bathroom it's a closet. No joke, the size of a closet, and there's just one little tiny urinal sitting in the dugout. Like when you're going to the bathroom in the urinal, the door is basically touching your ass while it's closed. The room is so tiny.
What is so funny about that stadium is that they haven't like updated. Obviously they kept the plumbing going and stuff like that. There's plaques everywhere. Anytime anyone with
Yeah.
any prominence stood near something, they put a plaque up there. Purposely, the sight lines are terrible if you're in the audience. You can be if
Oh
you're in
yeah,
like the
behind
stands
the
and stuff
pole
like that.
or whatever. And like, look, if you were at a different stadium, this is kind of the beauty of it. If you're at another stadium, you'd be like, wow, this is the most minor league stadium ever. They need to fix this. But when you
Yeah.
Fenway and those kinds of things happen to you, right? You're like you're behind a pole or the urinal for the dugout bathrooms in a closet. Like you embrace it and you're like, this is awesome. You know,
Yeah.
like this is the coolest thing ever. Whereas anywhere else, you'd be like, why did they do it this way? But there, you're taking a piss in a museum closet.
Which is beautiful. I like
It's
that. You go
beautiful.
to the Met and then you're like looking at a Van Gogh as you're pooping. It's
What better place?
that's a good weekend. So this year, you're in Lehigh Valley with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. With the Party King terminology or whatever, I've been reading online a lot that you become like a role model for a lot of the players as a vet. You've been to the big show. You're now helping out a lot of the players that are in Lehigh Valley with the Iron Pigs. What has that transition kind of like been like? Is like Party King still there, or is it like Party King plus like dad? Is it like, hey, if you party, do it in the clubhouse so I can watch you? Like, what is kind of like your transition like?
Hey, dads can still be party kings. I plan on being that one with my daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it's definitely been a different season, kind of different feel for me. Versus the last 3 years in Philadelphia. But I've loved it. I've enjoyed it. We've had great teammates. I don't think of myself as some old veteran guy trying to instill wisdom on the younger generation. But I am older and I have had a lot of experiences in the big leagues. So I guess that title fits the timeline. But I don't, walk around the locker room or anything trying to like instill wisdom on anybody. I definitely am available for anybody who wants to talk about how to get to the big leagues, what it's like, different ways that they can get better. I've had a lot of really great experiences. And so I've been able to gain a lot of knowledge through those experiences. So I love to be able to share that with younger guys, whether it be rookies that have never been to the big leagues, or if it's other guys on the team that have maybe touched the big leagues a little bit and are trying to look at how to stay in the big leagues. There's also other guys on our team who have collected quite a bit of time in the big leagues, and we talk a lot, and I learn from them and they learn from me. So I think that camaraderie of just how do I get better because I want to be a big leaguer mentality is really good on our team, and I can be a resource for them at whatever capacity they feel like it.
What are you working on this year in Lehigh Valley?
Everything, man. At all times, right? There's the things that you're good at and the things that you're not so good at, and the things that you're good at you want to make better or at least keep at that high level of competition, and then the things that you're not so good at over the last few years, you try to make those things better so that you're constantly just on this upward trajectory of performance, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, and that in our industry is couldn't be more true. So for me, I'm just trying to get the things that I'm good at better, or at least maintaining, and then the things that I'm not so good at, I'm trying to make those just a little bit better every single year.
I have a general question on minor league baseball, and that is that you actually play for the Quad City River Bandits.
Oh yeah.
Quad City River Bandits, I went there last year. One of my favorite experiences because the stadium is like on the Mississippi River, and the Mississippi River floods
Yeah.
consistently. So they've had to like build like planks and stuff like that. Like the team and the fans and the concession stands people, they all walk on the same like 2x4
Mm-hmm.
over a river that has just been kind of like placed there. What is the coolest minor league baseball experience that you've been to?
Oof. I would have to really think about that one. But as far as it goes, is facilities and whatnot, Lehigh Valley has got the best facilities in AAA baseball that I've been a part of. Sugarland was pretty good when I was there, but the facilities here at Lehigh are incredible. And obviously, we're close to Philadelphia, so we get a lot of the Philadelphia Philly fans. So our stadium is packed for the most part every weekend. Which you go to some other stadiums and there's like 500 people in the stands. Not exactly your favorite spot to play a baseball game when the atmosphere is a little dead like that. But I'd really have to think about some of the other places that I've been. Nashville's a really cool one.
The sounds.
Yeah, and the stadium's
Yes.
awesome. They do a really good job over there. And obviously, you're
That
in Nashville, which is a great city.
that stadium has my favorite stadium thing where you walk in there and there's a giant sign that says, proudly the only stadium in the world that has a guitar shaped scoreboard.
Yeah,
And then there's just a guitar shaped scoreboard ever. You're like, oh, yeah, I guess that is like a record.
it is. It's awesome. Yeah, they
It's
do a
so
really
cool.
good job over there. And there's probably a few other ones that I'm not being able to capture off the top of my head that are
Yeah.
some cool spots to be able to play. But those two are definitely up there.
How many hot dogs do you eat a season?
I'm not a huge hot dog guy during the games or anything, but I have a funny story for you. We were in Philadelphia and Schwarber's playing and we're losing the game, and it was Dollar Dog Night back when we had Philadelphia Dollar Dog Night, and we were trying to get the boys going, and so Schwarbs had them go get a dollar dog from upstairs, crushed the dollar dog down in the batting cages before going up for his DH at bat and hits a homer.
Ha.
The dollar dogs definitely had some juice in them to be able to accomplish that feat when we were down in that game. So it was pretty funny. But yeah,
Did he crush a dog
love
the
hot
next at
dogs.
bat?
But what's that?
Did he crush a dog the next at bat?
Had to. Yeah, it didn't go the same way, but you
Yeah.
had to at least try again. You couldn't just leave it at one dog, one homer. You had to go for two and see if it happened again.
That is a dangerous
Yeah.
cycle to kind of get on.
Yeah.
I have one more question, and then I want to play like a little bit of game with you, and then we'll be done here. You one time got a strikeout. You pitched during a game. You threw an ephus pitch. How nervous were you in that moment? And I also want to ask, anytime anyone throws an ephus pitch, are you not just terrified that you're about to get your head blown off by a line drive?
Oh yeah. If I'm pitching, not good things are not happening for us. So I wasn't nervous, like we're getting our ass kicked already. What's the worst that's gonna happen is we're just gonna get our ass kicked more. So nervous as far as that part goes, not so much. But the strikeout was cool. I faced Giancarlo Stanton one time. And I know Stanton a little bit because one of my buddies is good friends with him. So he comes to the plate, and I was kind of laughing. I get him to 2 strikes, and the second strike, he took an absolute G-hack at and just barely fouled it off. And I started, running backwards as he was swinging because I thought I was about to get my face blown off by this ball. Well, the next 4 pitches were nowhere near the zone. I had him 0-2, and I was like, I am not throwing this ball anywhere near the plate right now because if he hits it back at me, I might die. and both of us were kind of chuckling to each other because he knew exactly what I was doing after that swing, which was not letting him hit the ball because I didn't want to get my head blown off.
It's like impossible to hit. It's like very hard to hit, but also it's like on a tee. So it's like if you do make contact with it, it's like a Katusha rocket.
Yeah, it's like hitting, I think it was like 37 miles an hour is actually really tough. But yeah, if you connect and you're Giancarlo Stanton, it's not going to come off soft. So not great. I was nowhere near the zone after that. I was like, screw this. Just go to first base. I'll try the next guy.
Okay, so I want to play a little bit of a game with you. And this is based on your Wikipedia. Where they listed all of the minor league teams that you have played with. You played with the Quad City River Bandits, the Tri-City Valley Cats, the Lancaster Jethawks, the Corpus Christi Hooks, the Glendale Desert Dogs, the Fresno Grizzlies, the Round Rock Express, the Sugarland Skeeters. By the way, I threw out a first pitch at Round Rock Express, and it was during the the ring ceremony. Yeah. So I was actually on the sidelines, and then all of a sudden they brought out the pennant from the year before when they had won and then gave out their things. This is the game. This game is called Real or Fake Minor League Team. I have made a bunch of minor league teams fake, and then I got a couple of the crazier named ones, and I want you to tell me, is this a real minor league team or is this a fake minor league team?
Okay, got it.
Here we go. Number 1, Portland Pickles.
Not real.
100% real.
Really?
Portland Pickles, their mascot, Dylan T. Pickle, is a giant pickle. They actually won the league that they were in last year.
What league are they in?
Some collegiate wooden bat up in Portland.
Okay. College also. This is college and minor league teams.
Yeah. Okay, this is anything development league and above. Okay, things where people are paying money to go to, basically.
All right, got it.
Okay, the next one is the Burlington Sock Puppets.
Burlington, well, when I was there, it was not the sock puppets, so I'm going to say no on that one, too.
It is real. The Burlington Sock Puppets are a real team.
Burlington, like, turtle somethings when I was there or something like, or no, it was Beloit was the turtle somethings.
I know that Burlington, Vermont has the Lake Monsters, I think is the Burlington, Vermont team.
All right.
The Borough Park Bagel Smashers.
I'm going to say no on that one.
That is a fake one. That is a fake team. However, if I ever bring a minor league team into New York, you're my bench coach on this, by the way.
Love it.
Hired. The Florence Yalls.
I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say that one's probably a team.
Yes, it is a real team. And the story behind this one I learned is that originally there was like a sign that said like the Florence Mall or something, and then they changed it to Y'all. So it's like a thing in Florence. Okay. The Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Yes.
Yes, real team.
Pandas.
Real team. Have you ever played or been there?
No. It's a take on like raccoons, right?
Yes, their mascot is a raccoon.
Yeah.
I don't know what Rocket City. I actually don't know. I think it's in Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. It's an area. I don't know anything about it. The Gastonia Grape Juice.
I'm gonna say yeah.
That is a fake one. I did make that one up. That is one I made up. And the last one we got are the Livingston Lawyers.
I've never heard of them. Are they a real team?
They are not a real team.
Okay.
They're basically
sounds like such a boring baseball team.
But sometimes there's like you go to a place and it's like this is the the New Jersey Men, and like that's here's the guys.
Yeah, hey, they come up with anything in minor league baseball to have some sort of obscure mascot.
You got to be having it. If you had to invent a minor league team, what would you be calling it?
I love your Bagel Smashers one.
The Bagel Smashers has to happen.
Yeah, about that.
You're the GM. You're the bench coach of the Bagel Smashers. Bagel Smashers premiering. We're going to be starting around 2030. That's when we're going.
Perfect. Good time.
Garrett Stubbs, thank you so much for coming on. I'm beyond excited for you to be playing for Team Israel Baseball next year. Is there anything out there that you want to tell the New York Times sports audience?
No, other than thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun. Can't wait to be the bench coach for the Bagel Smashers in a few years.
That's right. All right. We will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much, Garrett.
You got it.